Welcome back, guys, to the Great Ace Attorney Adventures, where last episode, our questioning of Jezaille Brett continued with a derailing piece of evidence thrown into the mix, showing that the handbag we supposed could be carrying a gun was a mesh one with its contents clearly viewable at all times, so therefore not concealing anything, as it looked yet again like a guilty verdict was to be reached. However, that photo led to a new discovery, that of a burn on the victim's wrist from the dinner plate that should have seen him yelping in pain. Now believing that Mr. Wilson was already dead before the gunshot, Miss Brett has revealed she could speak Japanese and has given us new testimony about our claim, as we continue to press her statements that may have led us to a certain conclusion. Speaking of statements, this one's entirely combative. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway.
Yes!
Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. What? What? What is that? It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand? Ha-ha! Kill a blow! The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful. Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Aoshi is finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. Gee, you're telling me? Never seen that before. What do you think, Ryunosuke? I think it's going terribly, as well as my pronunciation of his name as usual. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected, she's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Kazuma. What, Ryunosuke? There is one thing I noticed. Something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her, Inspector Hosonaga. The detective? Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. If it might present an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. If you think so, but this time instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then. I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose. Once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again. I'm starting to wonder if he's very literally biting his tongue over the statement.
Yes!
Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. You've told us this. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Deja vu. Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. I mean, the big wait shouting is a pretty interesting one. So how do we focus on him? Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right. Look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts. It's time. to pursue the man and his train of thought. Sorry, pursue. I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker. What marker? At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. But by moving the marker left and right, you can turn your attention to other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with X. If you can catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere among the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then, so first I should move the marker across and focus on the detective. Then pursue him with X and see what's on his mind. Here we go. Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. I'm trying. It won't let me. Ah, now it will. Only when he's finished his action. It's interesting how, like, you get a sign of her on the left at this point in time, because I guess that's to denote that that's her testimony. Pursue. Excuse me. Excuse? Very polite. Yeah, what's the meaning of this? Oh. Don't cough up. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts. Deeply. It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say? If there's something you'd like to say, please share it with the court. Objection! What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful English woman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over. Immediately! Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved in the case. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? I do have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett. Well, yes. If you don't mind, I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. Which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always try to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. Okay, crime scene thief? A crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. Is that... This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming. I guarantee it. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. The carbonated water bottle has been entered into the court record. Water the victim and Miss Brett shared on the day of the murder. It was on the victim's table. Miss Brett, can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death? I'd say there's plausible deniability there, maybe. I'm amazed she admitted it. Yes, it was that bottle. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well. Counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. Okay, I should probably have a look at things. I don't really want to present anything at this point in time. I mean, if I press R1, I don't present, but it just makes me worried because it's not court record at this point in time. I want to examine this because we probably should. Nothing on the bottom. Nothing necessarily on the top. No really discernible marks, is there? The label is written in a foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. This must be very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was asking. Then go to France and ask. You could just say that you don't know. Okay, so nothing there. I can look at the water? So this carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. It looks like there's a little left in the bottle, although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much, I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going. No, Ryunosuke, you can't do that. For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Ryunosuke. In more ways than one. I wonder, could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. Right, well, we've got that as a kind of thing. There's no other marks. I didn't seem to update anything. At all. So, yeah. This is probably what we're going to be using, though, because that's just the flow of things thus far. So unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought me my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death beside the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. So we've got blood from a stone in a sense with this statement. But could it be this one? Considering the evidence, considering what we've said, considering what's been said here, it feels like I'm presenting. It feels like I am now saying that yes, poison could do exactly what you said. To open up possibilities, not to nail you straight down. That's what we'll go with.
Yes!
What is this? The bottle of water? Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Poison? On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Order, order, order! And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could possibly have done it. Jezaille Brett, it was you.
Objection!
This is outrageous to suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You little rookie imbecile. Have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we only have just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime.
What?
The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth.
Ah,
If I may,
I will silence you forever for this disgraceful act of...
it is you who should be silent. Of course.
Dear lady!
Where did that come from? She just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies. I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring? I described your police force as inferior. But no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector. And whether it contained poison or not. Of course. You did! Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it! Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And? What did you find, Inspector? I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. We couldn't find no trace of poison or of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself. No! No! I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you. But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours. I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned. Thank you, Counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett. Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved. Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present the court at this point? Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more. Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
Hold it!
Please, wait. Isn't that... What is the meaning of this? Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikatoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Another name I can say incorrectly. We'll stop talking about that now. Mikatoba! In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package, wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. To be continued, you say? I guess I just continue on because I save at the end of episodes, because now the game has multiple save slots, which is really nice. For all my filming considerations. Let's go. What were you carrying? As we stayed in the courtroom, no recess here. Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense, but why this sudden ingress into my courtroom?
Ha! A judicial assistant and a woman, no less. The rules state that females are not permitted into this court of law other than to testify.
Yes, I fully understand. I ask only for 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense.
Ha! You're too late, little girl. This trial has already been concluded.
5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more.
But Your Excellency!
I am most grateful. Who exactly are you? I'm sorry, there's no time. Please, simply accept this for now. What is it? A report about something, written in English. It's Jezaille Brett's research. The English woman's? After the trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical facility or faculty and borrowed this paper. Oh yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So, does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case? I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself. Oh, no, of course not. Special characteristics of Curare and its effects on human subjects. Interesting. Curare? What's that? I've never heard that word before.
Time's up. The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom.
There was too little time for me to read it in detail, but I summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it. This is wonderful. Thank you. Jezaille's report has been entered into the court record. An unknown poison. Goodbye then, and good luck. Right, thank you very much, Susato. You've had long enough, counsel. We cannot detain our English guest any longer. I ask the prosecution and the defense now one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but...
The prosecution has made its case convincing enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency.
Ryunosuke, we're out of options here. This really is our very last chance. Yes, I know. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence. That look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett? Yes, Your Excellency? If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer. It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid it's not so very long until tea time. I'll have to politely decline. Forgive me, Miss Brett. It seems I wasn't clear. I realize it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask you to treat that as an order. I've said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense. My apologies, dear lady. So, counsel, what is this new evidence that demands the court's attention? Well, I guess I'm literally presenting what we've just got in our hands. We could examine it a little bit more first, though. A poison made from the bark of certain trees in the jungles of South America. The hunters of the region have used it since ancient times to incapacitate their prey. Effects: instant paralysis of the entire body and subsequent death, even in minute doses. Rudimentary: the above-mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the body through a wound, such as that inflicted by a blowpipe dart. Practical applications: due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it's believed that the toxin could have application as an anesthetic. However, a solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result of the full body paralysis must be found first, or patients would die of suffocation. She was just researching poison. That's evidence enough to open up another avenue, right? It's the applicator we need to find, and I think we've already got that in our evidence too.
Yes!
Mr. Jezaille Brett, we understand you were studying under Dr. Wilson at Yume University doing research. Research, by sheer coincidence perhaps, into a deadly poison.
What?
Poison? Where are you going with this, counsel? A toxin known as Curare, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death.
Objection!
What? What complete and utter nonsense? Curare, you say? I've never even heard of it.
You wouldn't have done.
What do you mean?
I mean that you wouldn't have heard of Curare before for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. It doesn't exist. Correct, which means No matter what tests the police can do for toxins, they'd never identify Curare. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison.
What?
Order! 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 Council, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to this report authored by the visiting research student from England, Curare has long been used by the tribespeople of South America as a poison to lace their arrows. It seems it is reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists.
To lace their arrows?
The report states that it is produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle, and it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by arrows laced with Curare suffered instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett?
Objection!
Trumpery. These aspersions are utter trumpery. To start with, if the victim had been administered some of this so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and writhing in pain. The other diners would have surely noticed.
That's true. What do you say to that, Inspector? Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that. I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around.
What do you mean, the other way around?
The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that Curare was used. Explain yourself, Counsel. The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there would be no visible signs of pain at all. How terrible! Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. But with a chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects would go largely unnoticed. But I don't follow, Kazma. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death. The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe it causes the muscles to control respiration to fail. Respiration. In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move.
That's hideous!
To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly Curare poison. And you're suggesting that this bottle, Counsel, actually contains this terrifying poison?
Objection!
This is all very convenient, isn't it? A hitherto unknown poison, for which there is no means of testing. What a happy tale for the defense.
If I may.
All these facts. You think you're so clever, but you must be taught some manners.
It is you who must be taught.
Of course. Dear lady!
So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it? What? You steal another's honest hard work and then announce the results as if you discovered them. I'm appalled. What a loathsome act. Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual. Whatever do you mean? Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime. That really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree?
Objection!
Enough of this. I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules.
What's so funny? Oh, excuse me. Your Excellency? Yes, Miss Brett? May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please? Well, yes, I don't see, why not?
Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys.
Sorry?
To an Englishwoman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Your little peace games and these foolish courtroom antics is laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Cheers!
Wait, what are you doing?
No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair. Goodness! Whatever is the matter? You will look quite stunned.
Yes, they do. And I kind of like it if she just went blop. Do you know what I mean? That would bring everything up neatly together, I guess. Still, with Jezaille Brett having drunk the water that supposedly may have contained an unknown poison to Japan, we see that she's standing quite fine. And we are stunned. Let's snap ourselves out of it next time, as we show the real murder weapon, or at least the real trajectory of that poison. I'll see you guys then for more Great Ace Attorney Adventures. Bye-bye.